There is a name I love to use. I love to sing its worth. It sounds like music in my ear. The sweetest name on earth. So we're singing, oh, how I love Jesus. Singing, oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Because he first loved me.
Yeah.
So when you're accompanying someone, it's the same as having a conversation. And so, the more vocabulary you know, the more ways you're able to express yourself. And so you have to you have to have enough vocabulary to express yourself, but you also have to know the subject of the conversation for it to be meaningful. Knowing the subject is equivalent to knowing the form of the song. Having vocabulary is essentially is equivalent to knowing the chord structures, because you want to be able to express yourself musically based on what the vocalist is saying musically. Does that make sense to everyone? So if I'm limited in words, I'm limited in what I can provide to the conversation. If I only know like 10 words, there's only so many sentences that I can say with 10 words until I start repeating myself. And so you want to know how to, you don't want to just memorize words or memorize sentences. You want to know how to create sentences based on the conversation. And so when you're following a vocalist or following anyone, you want to have the tools and knowledge and understanding of the patterns so you can stray away from this topic or come back. Essentially, you want to be able to create on the spot. And that's the mistake that most musicians make. They go into the conversation with preconceived thoughts. So regardless of what you say, my answer is not going to change. If you ask me a question about cats, and I answer something having to do with rain because I don't know anything about cats. That's the same as if I have 4 or 5 chords in my arsenal, whatever you say, I'm playing these 4 or 5 chords, right? And so it's important to expand your vocabulary. First and foremost, you have to play with an open ear and understand that one, it's not about you. You're accompanying something or someone. And so your job is to embellish whatever they do, right? And so the topic of space comes in. So leaving room for something to happen, right? And so you don't want to be the person that dictates the conversation or that dictates what the vocalist is doing. You want to leave room for the conversation to happen organically. What I want to do is take a simple song that we all know and go through the ways that we first lay out the foundation of the chord structure, foundation of the song, and then we'll get into adding some vocabulary to that progression, whether it's passing chords, counterpoint, all that stuff. Okay, so the song I'll be using is Oh How I Love Jesus. So Oh How I Love falls in the F sharp major. Jesus is F sharp major. Oh How I Love falls on C sharp 7. Jesus falls on F sharp major. Oh How I Love is on F sharp. Jesus is F sharp major. Because He falls on B6. Loved falls on F sharp over C sharp. And that's just an F sharp major triad with a C sharp bass. And then Me falls on F sharp. So this is super, super important to know because 1, this is the form. 2, this lets me know all of my target harmony. So this means that whenever these lyrics are being said, I need to be on this harmony. O. Okay, so that is obviously nothing fancy here, but that lets me know that whenever the vocalist says, oh, I need to be on this F sharp harmony. And whenever she says Jesus, I need to be on that F sharp harmony. So, oh, how I love Jesus. So on and so on. This is where we get into vocabulary, right? So there's only so much I can say with these three chords, because really that's all it is. F sharp major, C sharp major, B6. So now we get into vocabulary. Remember when we were talking about secondary dominance, right? So, and how it works and like 5 of and all that good stuff. So one thing is that in this key, F sharp is the 1, and C sharp is the dominant, because C sharp is the 5, right? So now, what we're gonna do is put in some secondary dominance in there. So we're gonna set some of these chords up with the 5 of that chord, or that resolution harmony. So let's say we wanted to add a secondary dominant, or write in the 5 of 5 of C sharp. So what would the 5 of C sharp be? A flat or G sharp. We'll just say A flat because it's the most comfortable. G sharp is gonna make us think. But the technical term would be G sharp because it's a sharp key. But anyway, we'll say A flat. Does anyone have any questions as to how we got to A flat? No, cool, okay. So, well now we know that we're gonna put this 5 of C sharp in, so that's gonna function as a passing chord. Are we familiar with the term passing chord? Okay, cool. So passing chord is just a chord that bridges 2 chords. In this case, we're trying to bridge F sharp and C sharp. And that bridge, that passing chord is gonna be A flat 7. So that's step 1. Now step 2 is to figure out what lyric is that A flat gonna fall on, because that's important to know. So one thing to note is that a passing chord speeds up the harmonic rhythm. So the harmonic rhythm just means duration of a harmony, or duration of a chord. So since this is in 6/8, and 6/8 just means 6 beats in each measure, and 8 just means 8th notes are counted as the 1. So in this song, each measure has 6 beats. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. And so this F sharp is sustained, this F sharp harmony is sustained for 6 beats. If I put a passing chord in there, it's gonna cut it in half. So that means that the harmony is gonna be twice as fast. Does that make sense? So instead of the harmony the harmony sustaining for 6 beats, it's gonna sustain for 3 beats. So it's gonna change faster. So does that make sense? So I'm speeding up the harmonic rhythm by adding a passing chord in there. So that's number 1. So where is this A flat gonna fall? Why is that sus? Sus, yes. So it's gonna fall on sus. Now, before I jump back to the piano, is there any other place we just randomly wanna add some more passing chords? And I wanna keep it based on the 5 of, because you could add any type of chord in there and call it a passing chord. What am I putting there? Yep, because you're going to put a passing chord here that connects these 2. So what chord did you want to put in here? 5 of F sharp? Yep. Okay, so what lyric is does it fall with? How I, okay, gotcha. So, oh, how. So that cuts it perfectly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jesus, 2, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. So is everyone starting to kind of get, okay. Anything else you guys want to put a passing chord in front of? So basically like a C sharp over F. Yeah. Okay. Does everyone understand what we're talking about? I'm going to call it D flat because I can't say F with C sharp. So D flat and C sharp are the same thing. But if we're talking about a D flat, the notes that make up that chord, the 1, 3, 5, 7, is D flat, F, A flat, and B natural. If I take that 7 away, it's really just a D flat major triad, right? What he's saying is to just invert this. Now it's the same harmony, but it's over F. Now, of course, we're not going to voice it like this. We're going to voice it something like. Okay. We can do that, just to be super, super accurate, which is super, super unnecessary. This wouldn't be technically right because this is a sharp chord, and I'm rewriting it as a flat chord. And I'm only doing that because it's easier. Well, at least it's easier for me, and I'm pretty sure it's easier for us all to think of that harmony as a D flat over F instead of a C sharp over E sharp.
So that kind of goes back to what I was talking about. Would that be how it's written? You would want to, base it off of playing the F and not necessarily, or base the chord off of playing the F as opposed to not necessarily playing the inverted D sharp chord.
If you were trying to do like an inversion of that D flat chord, you would write the harmony and you would write the bottom note on the bottom. Right. So yeah, so it's like a D flat harmony over an F bass, or it could be a D flat over an A flat bass, right? Okay. So let's see what all this stuff sounds like. So this is what it was at first. Okay, so now so big difference. Now I have a bit more vocabulary to this conversation, and if I have knowledge of drop twos and inversions, that gives me a different texture to add, a bit more nuance to add to that vocab. So, so that's me ending instead of an F sharp with a root. Now I'm ending on an F sharp with the first inversion. Or F sharp over B flat. Now the next thing I want to do is put in some sus chords. Sus chords want to resolve to the dominant chord. And so what I'm going to do is everywhere I have a dominant, I'm going to put a sus in front of it. So quickly, so a dominant chord is 1, 3, 5, flat 7. All a sus 4 does is it replaces the third with a fourth. So instead of 1, 3, 5, flat 7, I'm going to use 1, 4, 5, flat 7. And sus is short for suspended. So it's like a suspended fourth that wants to resolve badly to a third. So it's like, you can have a sus 4, you can have a sus 9. So this is the 9. 9 wants to resolve to the third, right? Or sus 4 wants to resolve to the third. Okay. So this is gonna speed the harmonic rhythm up even more because now I'm adding a third chord within that bar. So this is the F sharp going to that C sharp, right? So I'm gonna add a sus in front of that C sharp. Another sus. So So instead of going straight to A flat, I go to an A flat sus. Now we're jumping ahead. So O. So now that I know that I'm putting a sus, and this goes back to our conversation about chord scales before. So the same way that I came up with the scales for that E flat minor 7 chord, remember that? And all that good stuff. So I'm using that same technique to come up with chords that fit within the scale of the sus 4 chords, right? And so the same way that I was moving up and down with that E flat minor, I'm going to do similar stuff for the sus. Right, so all I'm doing all those, so the C sharp sus 4 is setting me up to is setting up the C sharp dominant for the key of F sharp. So all I'm really doing is playing chords from the key of F sharp, just resolving to that sus. So this is the B minor, B flat minor in the key of F sharp, and I'm just literally just going up the scale. But I'm resolving to this voice for my sus. Right, so I got the 13 in there, got the flat 7, got the 9, got the 4. Right, so that's a bit more intricate, but that's more of the same concept. So if I go O, this is the 5, but a drop 2. Right? I'm taking this 5 triad, and then now I'm creating a melody, but harmonizing it in 6. And this jumps back to intervals. Right? So now we're using our knowledge of our intervals to harmonize melodies. So we're creating melodies and harmonizing them in 6. Do we remember what a 6 interval is? Okay, so if this is my melody, I'm just harmonizing it down to 6. Right? So if I go O, if I want to do this melody, and I could do the same concept to get me to that A flat sus. So the same thing I did for the C sharp sus, same thing, now I'm doing the same thing for A flat. But it's going to sound different because I'm playing that A flat major triad in there. Now can anybody tell me why I'm playing that A flat triad in there? So remember, the chord scale is based on your resolution chord. So if I'm trying to resolve to C sharp major, my chord scale is based on the C sharp major scale, which has an A flat major triad in there. Right? So these chords are all from the D flat major scale, because that's what I'm trying to resolve to. That makes sense? Now, it just sounds a bit out because I'm in a different tonal center, which is F sharp, and there's no C natural in the key of F sharp, but it's the same concept. So now with that in mind, I'm going to create another melody based on that sus, but harmonize it in 6. Right? So if I want to do something like... Same concept. I don't want to jump too far ahead. But, so that's adding a bit more vocabulary to the conversation.